Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Dawn Approach podcast with myself, Rich, and the lovely Dawn Leiden-Bolger. We are going to go through our 5 to follow for the 2024-25 jump season. Now, I fully expect Dawn's selections all to be coming from Ireland, and so I've kept mine all in Britain. Now, I'm not sure how that's going to go when we get to Cheltenham and beyond. Keeping it in Britain is something a little bit different and away from the Willie Mullins and Gordon Elliott brigade that will probably take over the season as they always seem to do. We will go to Dawn first with her 5 to follow.
The jumps are back, baby, and I'm here at the Curragh for DigiTips. And my 5 to follow for the season, I have taken some out, I've put them back in, I've taken them out today. I've even seen Smooth Tom run here today, who we know is a very, very good dual purpose horse and has been second to Daddy Longlegs in that good grade 3 that provides at Tipperary 3 weeks ago. But moving on to my first, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? And Romeo Coolio was supposed to run at Punchestown last week. He will be running, hopefully, at Down Royal next week on his hurdle debut. I was so impressed with him last year when he was second to Jasmine DeVoe in the champion bumper with Keith in the seat. Once you see those red gloves going, you are knowing something good is coming. He was also 5th in the Grade 1 at Punchestown, which always delivers. It's always deep, and you can pluck a lot of horses out for the next season with that. Gordon has said that he'll be a good 2-mile novice, so if that gives you ideas about what his plans are right up to the Cheltenham Festival and beyond. He's got an Arkle entry, he's got a Gallagher entry, he's got a Supreme entry. He's 12 to 1 for the Supremes at the moment. I think he's a supreme dream, to be honest. But he has also beaten Sporting Glory, and a lot of people are hot to see Sporting Glory this season. So my first one for DigiTips of my 5 to follow is Romeo Coolio for KTDA. And my next is Alle Rive. Alle Rive has not been seen on a racetrack, and you might say, God, Dawn, you're talking nonsense, you're crazy, you're mad, but she's one of Willie's fillies, and she's a Willie's in the bumper, and whatever bumper she goes into, watch her. She is by Tunis. Tunis is a Polish sire I wasn't even that familiar with, but I've educated myself in his career, and he has won 5 over hurdles with his own jewels. So that's a good sign himself that, you know, they kept Tunis entire. They must have taught an awful lot of him. And I think this girl is someone to follow for the season. She's 20 to 1 for the champion bumper, and she is also Album Photo's half-sister. So there's so much to like about her. Album Photo will one day get his statue at Cheltenham. I'm hoping for it. If I have to make one myself, I will. But Alle Rive, Willie's filly in the bumper, 20 to 1 fun already for the champion bumper. I like her a lot. Follow her wherever she goes. And speaking of all things Cheltenham, because all roads lead there, my next horse to follow, and luckily enough he is running on Saturday at Cheltenham, is Eagle's Reign for Ross O'Sullivan. You could see the excitement in Ross's face when he won the 2-miler at Listowel. Now, what I say about Listowel again is you pluck the horses out of it for this season. We've seen the Kerry National 9th go on and win the Munster National the other day. So, and there's been some other horses, the likes of San Salvador, Jazzy Matty, and Jordan's, who everybody knows I am absolutely crazy about. But Eagle's Reign, he was second in the Boodles to Lark in the Morning. He does nothing on the flat, supposedly, and he was only 12,000 euros. His owner waxes lyrical about him, and he's in the Mattersons on Saturday at Cheltenham. He's 12 to 1 fun, and I think he has a very, very good chance. And I also think that the aim will be to campaign him back to Cheltenham this year. Fun family facts as well, his mum is by Deep Impact, so she's got the Japanese factor going on, the Auguste Rodin factor going on, and by Glen Eagles, who this year's sire has been an anomaly. He's delivered again when people have given up about him. But Eagles Reign goes in as part of my 5 to follow for Ross O'Sullivan. Good luck on Saturday, boy. And nobody will be surprised that I'm going to put my darling Firefox back in here again. Foxy. What does the fox say? Who gave us a great season last year. Third in his Supreme, he got a little bit stuck. Second then to Mystical Power, and Mystical Power is quite something. He's crying out for chasing, and he's going to debut at Down Royal hopefully, which makes you think perhaps Gordon is going to separate Brighter Days Ahead and Foxy from each other. But he makes his chasing debut, and I always thought he would make a fantastic chaser. I think this season, I can't say last season was bad because he had a very good season. He was beating the likes of Elantique, and let's not forget he's the only horse to have bet Ballyburn. So Foxy at the moment is 6 to 1 for the Arkle. I'll be following him wherever he goes. I'll be interested to see how he does at Down Royal. But he had me at hello, and I think we shall all be singing at some big festival. What does the fox say? And Foxy says he'll win. Last but no means least, we have Bottler's Secret. Now, Bottler's Secret was very good last year. He has 4 wins under his girth. His debut for Gavin Cromwell at Naas, which is the place, was brilliant. He didn't go to the Triumph last season because Gavin said he didn't want to throw him in at the deep end, but he's going to Cheltenham on Saturday against Eagles Reign in the Mastersons. He's 7 to 4 favourite, and I can understand why. He was a very, very good second as well to Carcheese in the Grade 3 at Punchestown. And at Aintree Grand National Day, he also ran his heart out. He goes on soft, and he likes soft. He's Dragon Pulse, and it's funny that Gavin says that he's very laid back and he's very easy to do, because a lot of Dragon Pulses are known to be quite spicy. But the day that he won at Naas was supposed to be the day that Wadu came out to play again, and we all know how I felt about Wadu. So when Eagles Reign hacked up that day, I went, yes, he possibly would have given her a serious race. But I think he's going to go from strength to strength this season, and he's definitely one that is worthy of my 5 to follow. It's a little bonus to put at the end to wish you all luck and love and light and laughter and winners and everything else in between. It's going to be highs and lows, and that's why we love this game. Meeting of the Waters at 33 to 1 for the Grand National. I'm already saying it. I've got my crystal ball out. He'll go there or thereabouts. You know I like my each way play, so I'll take it all day. I'm also going to make a couple of people a little bit sore here, but Lossie Mout wins the champion hurdle. I'm telling you that now. She wins the champion hurdle. Luck, love, light and laughter as always. Follow DigiTips. We're all around the world, we're all around the country, we're up and down, and the jumps are back, baby. Good luck.
Thank you, Dawn. Looking stunning as always, and I'm actually looking forward to joining you at the Curragh for their last flat meeting in about 10 days' time. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in and watching our podcasts. We really appreciate you all. And fingers crossed Dawn's selections will go well this season, and let's get stuck into mine. The first horse I'm going to go for is no secret. It's a potential superstar. It's Nicky Henderson's 4-year-old bay gelding, Sergino. He was a winner in France before being picked up by the Donnellys. He beat Salvatore Mundi, who is also the Donnellys horse, and he's a smart one as well to keep on side. He's still a novice this season, as he won a maiden hurdle right at the end of last season, so he could be one to keep on side for potentially the Supreme Novice Hurdle. But Sergino won very, very easily on his first 2 starts with Henderson, and he was actually favourite for the Triumph before being withdrawn. Now, we all know about Henderson's troubles in the spring, and it was a really, really tough spell for him. No horses were performing, and it was actually a real bright spark to see this guy get his Grade 1 at Aintree. He powered clear in the run-in to beat Cargisi, who's a 2-time Grade 1 winner herself and a Triumph Hurdle runner-up. Khalif de Burle was 3rd in that race as well, and he's won a Grade 2. So yeah, he he just looks to have all the tools to be a real top hurdler this season. I think the plan is, as far as I've heard, to stick to hurdles, and the 2 mile division does have a certain Constitution Hill at the head of it in the UK, but I think, if the Donnellys fancy it, they could well meet, and if there's any chinks in the armour of Con Hill, then this guy will definitely find them out. If they do stay apart, then I think we could see Sergino sticking to easier races and carrying penalties up to the festival, but I actually wouldn't even mind him skipping the Champion Hurdle, especially if the Donnellys don't want him and State Man meeting against each other, as horses in their first season out of novice company don't really have a good record in the race, especially coming from the Triumph. Aintree, again, like this year, and then maybe see him go chasing beyond then. But it would be nice to see him hopefully up against Con Hill in the UK, and if Con Hill isn't back to his best, then we may see this guy take the mantle and become the guy who is right at the top of the 2 mile hurdle division. My second selection is the Gary and Josh Moore trained 4-year-old bay gelding, Salva. As you can see, not sure Digi is a huge fan as he's just fallen off the back of the sofa. This son of Motivator has won 4 of his 5 starts over hurdles. His only defeat came in the Triumph Hurdle, beaten on the day by 2 Willie Mullin top pots. He's going to be a horse that does his best work in really soft conditions, testing conditions. And I know many had him heading for a fence this season, but I was lucky enough to speak to a member of the team at Gary Moore's. And yeah, I've been told he's grown even more over the summer. He's filled out even more. He's a very, very big boy, but he is going to stay over hurdles for the foreseeable future. His likely starting point is going to be this weekend in the 4-year-old hurdle at Cheltenham. We may be mob-handed in that race because Dawn obviously selected one earlier, and I've got another one later who is potentially going to be running in that. I do think he can challenge at the very, very top when he gets his favourite ground, and I'm definitely going to be following him closely on soft ground. I hope he doesn't run on anything quicker than that, and patience will be the key to this guy, but yeah, he could be one who's very, very special. Number 3, my third selection is My Noble Lord, trained by Greenall and Guerrero. He's only a 3-year-old gelding, and he's just come off the flat. Now, he was trained by Michael Bell on the flat and rated 83 after he won his latest start. 3 from 4 on the turf on the flat, and he looked decent when stepping up to 12 furlongs and beyond. Now, JP McManus has snapped him up and sent him to Ollie and Josh, and he won his first start over obstacles quite nicely last week. He made a few novice mistakes, but you expect that from a horse who's never jumped before, and he's definitely going to come on for that. He'll also improve when there's a bit more of an end-to-end gallop. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it into a Triumph horse for the spring. Obviously, he's going to have to come up against some Irish good things, but I do think he might be better on slightly softer ground as well because he's got size and scope. But yeah, there's a lot of potential for this guy, and excited to see, as a young horse, what he can bring to the hurdle ranks during the year. My fourth selection is Give Me 5, trained by Harry Derham. Now, I firmly believe that Harry Derham is going to be champion trainer in Britain within the next 3 to 5 years. He's got all the attributes that are needed to make the leap to the very, very top, and he's got some really good owners behind him already. And I think, when he has another good season this year, there'll be plenty more knocking on his door as his rise continues. Now, back to the horse. Give Me 5 has just come off a really good run on the flat at Haydock. It should put him spot on for that 4-year-old hurdle again at Cheltenham this weekend. He's already rated 129 over hurdles, and with a second in the Adonis to his name, he's going to be competing in some really nice races this year. I think the toughness of that Adonis meant there was no Cheltenham Festival for him, and there were excuses for that run in Ireland at the back end of last season where he finished 4th. He's still pretty unexposed compared to some of his divisional rivals, and I think he could go a little bit under the radar for a yard that are going to the very, very top. Now, my final selection is Celtic Dino, the Sam Thomas trained gelding. Now, he seriously impressed me on Hurdle's debut last week. He still looked really green, and I think there's going to be tons and tons of improvement to come over the season. He won 2 out of 3 bumpers last year, and on debut he did beat Monty Bodkin at Ascot, who I think is a pretty decent yardstick. I know that Sam Thomas hinted at the Betfair Hurdle being the main target going forward at Newbury. I think that's in February. He's going to need a run a month from now until then to qualify for that race, which means we're likely to see him a little bit, as he'll have to have a fair few runs this year, which means we can build a little bit of fandom, which is quite key to getting to know these horses. We know that over the jumps they come back year after year. So obviously, if he goes close at Newbury, there might be a chance we get to see him in Supreme or a race at Aintree, when the ground will be on the better side. He is a top of the ground horse, according to Sam Thomas. So I do look forward to seeing where he goes and where he'll be entered up next, and hopefully he'll be a nice horse to follow. Now, there are a few other horses that I couldn't fit in my 5 to follow. I do want to give a shout out to Ollie Harris and all of his horses. I know Bo Zenith is looking likely to be back this season. Will Mount too. They've also got Kingston Pride, who won a bumper last year, and Peaky Boy, who looked pretty good as well. All at the Henderson Yard. We know they had their issues last year, so hopefully they'll be back bouncing. Also, Nichols has got a couple. Blue King Daru really didn't nearly make it in. And I think there's a horse called Pembroke, who is a 140 rated chaser. And I feel like he could be one to follow as well. But stick with the 5, and fingers crossed we can get some winners through the season. I might place a few little sneaky anti-post bets on some Cheltenham or Aintree races, and I'll definitely be betting these when they next come out to race. I also want to say, if you found this video by accident or by clicking on a link or seeing us on X or Instagram or anything else, please hit that subscribe button, because it really helps us out. We are closing in on the 1,000 subscribers. I think I've said that in the last couple of videos, but we will do a really decent giveaway. Maybe some free months in the subscription service, some merchandise. Digi, who's gone down the back of the sofa now, has got a nice little horse racing pin. Thanks to Horse Racing Pins for sorting all of those out for us. If you see us at a racecourse or anywhere, just please, come over, give us a shout, and you never know, you might get a free pin for saying hello, or even a beer from me. Anyway, right guys, thank you very much for listening, and fingers crossed these 5 to follows from me and Dawn do the business this season, and good luck with any horses that you are following as well. Thanks, I'll catch you soon.